Hey, good evening all. How's it all going, fellas? So Tuesday again. Look at that. Who have we got in the room? Well, it's busy already tonight. Mexican Spec, first in, first served. Well done. Welcome along. Patrick Casey, welcome along. Tavo, good to have you here, mate. Hope you're feeling as good as can be hoped for. Jeff Hutchins, welcome along. David Tyree, Stephen Bunkybird, waiting for a bated breath for Kiwi action. That's what the wife says. Who else we got? Barracuda and Barracuda, yes, of course. Another regular. Beagle Bob, Danny Boyd, Roy Miller. Man, place is busy. Busy. Roy Miller, Steve Sadusky. Good to have you here too, mate. Paul, thanks again, as always. You're always reminding them to hit the like button, which is, if you can do that, guys, it's much appreciated. It certainly helps the channel, helps everything work. So, yeah. Right. Well, we've got 21 in the room already, so that's kind of pretty good. David Tyree, the wife, is she still waiting? She's always waiting, man. She's always waiting. Steve Sadusky, where's Kev? He's in the office. So, if we get enough requests, I can go and get him and kind of put him in the shot if you want. Claude Ladlow. I think that seems a fairly new name. Okay, let's go. Hit the like button. Hey, awesome. Thanks, man. That would be good. So what's been happening, team? What's been going on? The weather's starting to, I don't know about everywhere else, but certainly here, starting to warm up. So, it's been kind of t-shirt weather during the day. It's quite pleasant, actually. You don't have the heat going all day, which is kind of nice. Kev is doing paperwork. Yes, Mr. Sadusky, that's correct, yes. Not mine, I don't think, but he's doing paperwork. But, it might be rolling something, I don't know. David Tyree, we've got to have Kev. Okay. All right. Barracuda, my cat's middle name is Claudette. I didn't know cats had middle names, but I guess they can. Itchy eye. Wow. Okay. So, what do we got here? Silly old bloke from Aussie land, welcome along. Good to have you here. Didn't clean that for us very well, did I? All that one. Been a dirty old day today. Working on an old Mustang we got there, which is a bit of a Exxon Valdez underneath. Nothing major, just a few little bits and pieces, but I may do a video on it. I'm not sure. It's just another 65 coupe, it's not particularly outstanding or particularly bad in any way, we'll see if we can dream up a video for it, but we'll see. Right. Barracuda, why would your cat have a middle name? Why would your cat have a last name? Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Mexicans. We haven't got a cat right now, but they've always been single name. Some dog. I know I've known a few dogs around that have long-winded names because they've got some fancy pedigree, but maybe it applies to cats too. Paul Funk, windy here today, and the mountains are finally getting snow. Oh wow. Oh, hang on, silly old bloke from Aussie land. Is that also Chavo? I seem to think he is. Yes. I'm not sure why he's playing around with his screen names, but he is. Well, that's okay. Just make sure to just changing it to live chat so we get all the messages. Tavo, dirty old Mustang. Yeah, it is a dirty. It's actually not bad. It's actually a pretty solid car. It's had a couple of little. It looks like it's had a rear quarter on it at some time, but I think that's was probably a little bit of accident damage rather than rust. But hadn't run for 5 years, and needs brakes, needs fuel system, needs just some love. It rolled in on the wrecker with just headers on it, no exhaust whatsoever, just headers, open headers. So probably just the fire up of that might be worth videoing. Just make a lot of noise and wake up the neighbours. So that's one of the other jobs we got to do, is put an exhaust system on. Apparently he's not planning on using it as a daily like that. So yeah. Barracuda, she's family. There you go. Well, Mexican spec. Mine are all stray, so I don't know their last names. Fair enough too. Yes, well, if they're a little wild, they probably don't know their last name either. Like who knows who the dad could be. Tavo, they have a last name to distinguish them from the cat down the road with the same first name. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Josh Homan, welcome along, man. Claude Ladlow, what's up? What are you working on now? Well, yeah, just pulled in late today. We pulled this little Pontiac Fiero in. So we got all the electronic parts in for that. So that's my morning job, is to swap all the distributor out, coil and wires and plugs and blah blah blah. Because we've got a horrible corroded mess of an ignition system, and hopefully that's going to get it going. Hopefully. But we will see. What else have we been working on? Well, there's that Corvette. We ended up having to do a fuel pump on that as well, because we had it idling there for a little while, and then backed it out to park it, and call the owner to come get it, and there's a puddle of fuel under it, and well, not a puddle, a patch. But shouldn't have been there, and it was actually coming out of the fuel pump, but actually around where the two halves crimped together. It wasn't one of those bolt together type pumps. It was the crimped together ones, and it was leaking around there. So it was like, okay, back on the rack, put a fuel pump in it, and that is not a lot of fun. I got to tell you, on a '79 Corvette, they kind of put everything in the way of it that they possibly could, and yeah, it's a mother trucker to actually get it off, get it out of the hole that it's in, and get the new one in, and and hopefully have it no oil leaks and all that sort of fun stuff. So so that kind of threw a little extra curve at us after the end of the video, but that happens sometimes. Chris Freemason, good evening. Good, welcome along, Sue. Good to have you here. Beagle Bob, that Corvette wasn't looking too good. Nice paint though. No, it really wasn't. I mean, it had just a lot of heavy rust. That has to have seen quite a bit of salt at some point in its life. But yeah, when you get suspension arms, like swelling from rust, it's pretty bad. And they very, very very average chassis repairs, and it was compromised where the chassis kicks up and goes over the back axle up and over, and that's quite the stress point, so that's not where you want it. Not that you want it anywhere really, but that'd be the least desirable. But yeah, Barracuda, Bella Claudette. Well, Bella that's the nickname for our daughter actually, is Bella. My wife calls her Bella all the time. So yeah, it is a good name, nice name. Yeah. Mexican spec. Working with the shipping company and the US customs agent to finish this deal. Lots of paperwork. Yeah, I mean, good on you though, man. I mean, you've found yourself a niche, and getting the skill set to work through with all the customs agents and shipping companies. That's a skill, and that's knowledge that people will pay for. So good on you, man. Jeff Hutchins, John Wayne's cat in True Grit was named General Sterling Price. If it's good enough for the Duke, well, that's fair. Mexican spec. Chris Freemy says, how is the white refrigerator? I mean, Fiat. Yes, well, it's a reasonable nickname for it. Fallen behind already. Here we go. Steve Sadusky. I had to have excessive drinks today so I could get through doing my taxes. Yes, mine are all done, which is not typical. I got to be honest with you. I tend to be on the last minute, and I'm actually ahead of the game, which is pretty unusual. But I do have that QuickBooks system, that QuickBooks online. So you do it all through the cloud, and that's pretty clever. It does a huge amount of the work for you. I've never liked QuickBooks. I always found them to be very, to be a difficult system, but my accountant wanted me to use it. And then they updated to this QuickBooks Online, and it's pretty darn good. I mean, I can figure it out, that's saying something. It really is. Steve Sadusky, can I deduct the cost of the alcohol? Well, probably not. But you could always say it was a gift. It's okay to give alcohol away, but if you do consume it, then it's on you. But if you give it away, if that person gives it back to you again, no harm, no foul. Chris Freemy, the Calvinator is just fine. Really nice condition. Well, that's good. Charles Dalton, sorry I'm late. YouTube seems to be having an issue. Actually, yeah, I hear what you're saying, because, yeah, I've just before I signed on, I tried to get it on my phone, and that's the mess. Try and get it so you can see it. Like, just keeps coming up with that. Try again. So it's not happy about something, and yet here we are. But and you're watching me, so something's working on YouTube. I don't know. Now, Charles Don, Mexican spec. Good. Get some really good insurance on this one. Okay. Mexican spec. Driveway of Misfits. Better to be prepared. I was a Cub Scout once upon a time. There you go. So are you two doing a deal, are you? Are you buying and selling the car there? That sounds a bit like. Tavo, looks the same colour as the kid's mother's Hyundai. It's an unusual colour, because I had it outside today, that Corvette, and it's actually seems like it's a brown metallic, but there's some green in it. I don't know. It's certain lights it looks pretty good, and other lights it's like today out in the sun with the green getting pulled out of it by the sun. Yeah, it didn't look that good, I've got to be honest. But different, I mean, there's so many Corvettes that are that, metallic blue and red and black, but that's a pretty unusual colour. So if you want to stand out, that's the colour to do it with. Jeff Hutchins, that's kind of funny. Named my first cat Rooster after John Swain character in True Grit, Rooster Cogburn, the old rat killer. I just realised the connection. Oh, there you go. Charles Dalton, frames for the C3s aren't that expensive. I hope the owner decides to save it. The rest of the car seemed quite sharp. Yeah, it wasn't bad. And actually, we drove it a couple hundred yards down the road and back just to make sure the brakes were stopping it, and they were. And it goes it's got a little bit more grunt than I expected. It didn't actually go too bad. Didn't get after it, because it was just like I didn't have any confidence in the car. But yeah, the frames, yeah, not that hard to get. So I mean, that's the only way to fix that car is to put another frame under it. Yeah, that's the only way. That frame is, someone's tried to save it, but it's too far gone. You know, when 1/8 of an inch plate is down to like a razor sharp edge because it's so thin, then yeah, it's got issues. Barry Cooter, my cat bears a strong resemblance to Lauren Bacall as she appeared in the John Wayne film The Shooters. Really? Well, that's a bold statement. Lauren Bacall was not shabby, and she didn't look like a cat. So yeah, okay. Chris Freeman, a Mexican speak. Wife's feeling better, I hope. Didn't know she was not feeling well. Here we go. Not really. She went to the doctor today. Hope they gave her some medicine. Well, yeah. Hope she starts feeling better soon, Mexican. Like Mr. Freeman says, give her our regards. We don't like to hear about anyone being sick. Eagle Bob, I do my taxes April 15. It's called tax day after all. Well, yeah. You can get caught out though if you're trying to file on the last day, along with several million other Americans trying to file at the death. The system can sometimes not actually be able to accept it. It hasn't happened to me, but this is stories my accountant tells me. It's that he'll always their cut-off date is like April 14 because they don't like. They've been caught before where they've had their customers' taxes done, ready to submit. They go to submit them, and the system is just overloaded, and they can't submit it. And then they can't get it submitted until the 16th. Then it's overdue. Then there's issues. Then it's a problem. So yeah, they always do it like the 13th, depending on the day of the week, on the 13th or 14th. So. Jeff Hutchins, it's hard for me to watch The Shooters knowing it's his last movie, but I do about every 15 years I watch it again. Yeah, some movies just need to be revisited, don't they, and watched again and again. Couldn't tell you how many times I've watched like movies like American Graffiti and Christine and stuff like that. Yeah, you wait that kind of gap and they're good to watch again. Chris Freeman said, yeah, YouTube went down for a few minutes about 15 minutes ago. Yeah, that sounds about right. Does mine? No, mine still won't. My phone still won't load YouTube. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. YouTube Studio is working. So like the back door into my channel, that's working. But not YouTube. Oh well. I'm supposed to be talking with you guys anyway, not watching my phone. So yeah. Okay, Mexican speak. No, Kiwi. Chris just bought a new car after what happened to the last one. Oh, okay. Jeff Hutchins, that's weird. As far as I can tell, my YouTube never went down. Yeah, who knows? It's all kind of mysteriously carried across the airwaves, isn't it? Which I still don't truly understand how they do that, but they do. So, Chris Freeman, I bought a new, to me, daily driver on January 1st, got hit on the 13th, car total. That sucks. Just got the replacement for it this past Saturday. Mix is giving me shit for buying a white car. A white Kelvinator. There you go. What's wrong with white cars? They're nice and cool in the summer. Mexican speak. Would I do that? A large percentage of the cars here are white. It is okay. You might lose it in this. That's a good point. You might lose it in the snow, though. Yeah. Danny Boyd, was the bird cage okay? Mate, I didn't even dig that deep into it. Like, yeah, it's I just wanted to get it, done and out the door. So I didn't look, but I doubt it. I would, yeah, that's really why, it's like, yeah, it's going to be toast. There was rust, like even some of the metal in the rubber door seals. They have some little metal reinforcing bits at the corners of the door seals, and that was rusting and swelling out of the rubber. So yeah, where there was metal on that car, there was rust. So yeah, I would seriously doubt the bird cage had been spared. Chris Freeman's plans are already afoot to add some colour to the car, inside and out. There you go. Kiwi fruit. G'day from the Manawatu, mate. Oh, g'day. Good to have you here. Kiwi fruit. That's a good name. Well, welcome along, man. Now, Barracuda Jeff, do you like the Cowboys in which Bruce Dern killed John Wayne? Don't think I've seen that one. Beagle Bob, my wife's accountant was having issues, couldn't put the stream up on the TV because of it. There you go. That's weird. Oh, your wife's accountant. What? I said accountant. Yeah, I read accountant, but it says my wife's accountant was having issues. Yeah, there's certainly mine seems to be too. But as long as you guys are getting me, that's the main thing. Beagle Bob, 80% of my cars are white, stays clean, looks cool, looks good. Yeah. Barracuda, I hate white cars and I own a white car. See, you can't please all the people all the time. You just never can. So, yeah. Jeff Hutchins, The Cowboy is a great movie. Still bums me out that he died in it, but that's the whole story. Laura Dern said that John Wayne told her dad, the world is going to hate you for killing. There you go, Jeff Hutchins. Where's the second? He was for killing John Wayne. He was right. Bruce Dern basically been a bad guy in every role since. Yeah, he was, and yeah, that probably sealed his fate, I guess, didn't it? David Tyree, that Corvette looked like a Wellington car. Okay. Oh, okay, with all the wind and the salt spray, that Wellington cars tend to look like that, do they? I haven't come across that before, being an Aucklander, Dorklander, what do you want to call us? Danny Boyd, I painted my Fox Mustang white, but I think I'm going to go for red next time, hopefully this summer. Gosh, how many times do you change the colour of your car, mate? Chris Freeman said, with respects to others, I don't really care for white, black, grey, silver cars, but beggars can't be choosers. Car is exactly what I want, except for the colour. That's part of the deal with buying used cars. If you want your choice of everything, then you got to buy a new one, don't you? But yeah, used cars, you don't get to pick the colour. Or necessarily the spec, but if it's everything you want except the colour, then that's you've opted for the more key ingredients, so it's a wise choice. Barracuda, Bruce's reply was not in Berkeley. Okay. Danny Boyd, those are about the only colours which go with it. Red interior. Okay. Well, there's red on red too. Silver with the red interior is nice. I do like that. Beagle Bob, one day I will paint my Julie bronze and my Mustang green. Gonna do black cloth interior in both. Nice. What colour green are you going with, Beagle? Because that green's the colour of the Alpine. Or going to be. But yeah, it'll take too long to find the picture probably. But yeah, we kind of know what colour the green's going to be, but it's like a British racing green, but with loads of metallics and pearls in it. So it'd be be quite a funky colour, hopefully. Danny Boyd, both of my Mustangs have red interior. There you go. Oh, well, I said red with a red interior is good. Mexican spec 2005 Ford put the red leather interior in most colours they sold that year, even if it didn't go together. Really? Didn't know that. Danny Boyd, BMW showed an M, I think it was back then, and it was dark midnight blue with a red interior. It did kind of work. Interesting. That's not a combination I would have thought of. Dark midnight blue. Well, to be pretty dark. Yeah, okay. It was a really dark blue. That could be quite smart, actually. Oh, here we go. Michael Pagliani. Liarini? Yeah, Michael Pagliani. I hope I'm getting that somewhat right. Danny Boyd, M3. Yeah, I figured that M3 was what you meant, mate. Beagle Bob, dark green. Try for a British racing, but whatever I can mix up on a budget. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. Let me just quickly, you guys keep chatting a minute. See if I can bring up a picture I was going to show you. Yeah, I won't post it for a little while, but if I can get the right one. Okay, that's not what I wanted. See if you can see that, guys, without too much glare. Just it's a lot of glare from that. Oh, you guys can see that very well. Looks like crap on my computer. Oh, it was a bit better. We've had approval from the CFO to put that on the Alpine. That is a black and chrome stack injection system, which I think will look badass under the hood of that Alpine. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Little, you heard it here first. Now, where were we? David Tyree. In 1979. I was in Wellington with Dad in a 6-month-old police car, and it had a hole in the body the size of a 20-cent piece. Wow. 6 months old. Jeez, that's not good. Mexican BMWs are a special breed of, you fill in the blank. Yeah. Well, actually, Mrs. Kiwi's on exactly the same page as you, Mexican Spec. She's not really a fan of BMWs and in particular BMW owners. Yeah. Charles Dalton, speaking of accidents and white cars, my wife's white car got hit in her work parking lot. It was the only car in the lot, and some ass drove into the back of it. Drove into it with an F350. Got the estimate today, $6,000. Doesn't go far, does it? It's probably not even that badly damaged, I'm guessing, at $6,000. Yeah, it's no wonder insurance rates are going up. Repairing them is going ballistic, like the cost of repairs. Jeff Hutchins, Kiwi, what do you think of implement tractor paint for a work truck? Thinking international grey. Like rattle can stuff. I mean, it's good paint. It is that tractor. Yeah, that I've used that before for painting like small parts, like the little bits and pieces and brackets and some suspension components and stuff with their tractor black paint. It's pretty tough, pretty resilient. So yeah, you're planning on like rattle canning it or actually putting it through a spray gun? Beagle Bob, want to do white stripes, maybe one offset, one center. Oh, okay, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Danny Boyd, do you know the difference between a porcupine and a BMW owner? I've heard this one before. Like porcupines have all their pricks on the outside or something like that, isn't it? Chavo, kid's mother's car that the dealer took back was grey with black interior. Replacement we found was the same, has the same kilometres, but was a country car, Arabian mocha colour and a lovely two-tone brown beige. Sounds nice. Arabian mocha sounds very, very high end, doesn't it? Niggas can speak Danny Boyd. No, I hope TK doesn't see this. Tavo, it's an awesome condition compared to the other one, and the bonus is she can find it in the parking lot, so it doesn't blend in with all the other grey ones. And it was $3,000 cheaper. Perfect. Barracuda, I like the Ford Tractor Blue. Well, you see a fair bit of it, don't you? Chris Freeman, so people have gotten surprisingly good results using implement paint from Tractor Supply. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about the chemical makeup of it. It's when you're painting small parts, it's just for what it's worth. When you're painting small parts with it, it's slow to dry, which can. If you can plan around that, it's fine. But like I keep like some rattle can black lacquer around for when you get caught with that bracket that you just need some paint on it, but you also need to get it installed in the next 30 minutes. That black lacquer paint is good because it dries really quick. So yeah, but if you've got a little bit of time, you can paint it, put away, and put it over, out of the way, and come back to it the next day. That tractor paint's pretty darn good. Now, what do we got here? What's on it to be? Heck yeah, Renault 5 Turbo came blue with red interior as one option. Looks great. I think there was a famous yellow Boss 302 with red interior. Yellow with red and ooh. No, I got it right. Jeff Hutchins, porcupine has the pricks on the outside. Yep, I nailed it. I got it. I had heard it before somewhere. Mexicans spent the pricks on the outside of the porcupine. I'm sure TK has heard that one before. Yeah. Hang on, here we go. Yep. Lost my spot. Jeff Hutchins, I owned a BMW. Son has it now, so he's the prick by receiving. Nice. Driveway of Misfits. So which will be faster, the Alpine or the blue thing? Well. I think the blue thing will be faster. I mean, 590 horse. It's that's an appreciable amount of horsepower to beat. Certainly, the Alpine will be a lot lighter. It's a good question. I don't feel I have a certain answer for you. The Alpine, the blue thing is like 4,800 pounds, so it's a heavy car. The Alpine should come in under 3,000 pounds. So potentially it's going to be 2,000 pounds lighter, which, 2,000 pounds lighter is a lot. So, in theory, we should be pumping out around, 425-ish horsepower in the motor and the spec that the plan's for. Might be only 400. I don't know. But the trick will be is going to be getting it traction, whether or not it gets traction or enough traction. The engine placement within the wheelbase, the engine's going to be well back, so that'll help traction. so there's a few variables in there. So yeah, it remains to be seen on a say like a 30 to 80 mile an hour run. The Alpine could well be quicker, but that standing start is pretty hard to beat the blue thing, the Audi, off the line with all-wheel drive, because you give it everything it's got, and it'll give the wheels maybe half a turn, and then it's just off. So it just doesn't lose anything in wheel spin. So light car, lots of horsepower, you can't get wheel spin. So yeah, but the Alpine may pull it back. I don't know. Danny Boy, the original 69 Trans Am came only in white and only with blue stripes. Who's bleeping me? Well, that's Mrs. K. She's watching in the background. Here we go. I'm going to read you out anyway, Mrs. K. She says she can handle the RS7, the Audi being faster than the Alpine. Hit the wrong button. Where was I up to? There we go. But the blue thing better not be the truck. So she doesn't want to be beaten by the old blue, the truck. She's possibly not familiar with Tony's name for the Audi, which was that blue thing. But yeah, that's what I know. That's what you're referring to, Chris. So yes, rest assured, dear, it will be days quicker than old blue truck. But yeah, the RS7, hard to say. Now, Mexican spec. Let's see. Have I ever had a BMW? I bought a 92 3 Series convertible one time. I was disappointed in most aspects of the car. Okay. One thing I've for me, BMWs always seem to handle pretty nice. But, yeah, David Tyree, who's calling me a prick? Chava, I had a BMW for a short while. It was an R65, so does that count? What is an R60? Oh, that's a bike, isn't it? I think that's a bike. Yeah, I got you. I don't know my bike, so but that's not a car. An R65. I've never heard of a car BMW. So yeah. Charles Dalton stacks. Heck yes, they're all I could see when you started. They're all I could see when you started working on that car. Stacks. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Charles. Awesome. My brain went to exhaust stacks. Okay, stack injection. Yes. I think that's really going to be the centerpiece in the engine bay. It's going to look really good. And we're going to have a pretty quiet exhaust on it, so we should get some nice induction noise. They tend to roar, those stack systems, when you start to ring them out, and that's a sound that is hard to beat. You get that throaty roar of induction. It sounds very cool. So yeah, took a moment, Charles, but yeah, I got you. Bit slow on the uptake. Barracuda, Kiwi, those vintage style wire mesh filters would look good on those injector tubes. Yeah, we'll have to have some kind of a mesh filter on there for sure. Yep, without a doubt. And you can get them. That's just a little optional extra you can get when you buy the setup. Beagle Bowl, the oil-based Rust-Oleum can be rolled on after thinning with flood penetrol, and come out looking pretty decent. My Camaro fenders are going to get that treatment this week, really. There you go. I've never even heard of flood penetrol. Don't even know what it is. I guess some form of a reducer. Jeff Hutchins, mine is a 98 328i. The only thing I didn't like was that it was an automatic. Only real problem I ever had, it was a GM auto. Oh, really? Yeah, that probably wasn't their best move. Tavo. Hint, it has 2 wheels and 2 cylinders. Ah, I got it right. I knew it was a motorbike. Hang on. Here we go. Mexican spec there narrows it down. Yeah, it does a bit. Jeff Hutchins, I'll be spraying it with a spray gun. Okay. Give it a whirl, man. Give it a whirl. But it does, rattle can wise, it's slow to dry. So you're probably going to have to like spray accordingly, not load it on too much too fast, or it'll all start to slide off, I suspect. But yeah, take your time. I think it probably should come out pretty well. Sounds of it. Mexican spec. I live in a very colourful country. The colour combinations I come across in old cars are amazing. You're right. I mean, it is a colourful country, and that's one of the cool things about it. So, very cool. Oh, Mars Dorflinger. There she is. Message retracted. There you go. What's honoured to be? I think the white blue stripes suit the TA perfectly. The 70 had white with blue stripes or blue with white stripe. Yeah, they did. They really did look good. Tavo, don't we all here refer to the Audi as the blue thing? Yeah, well, Mrs. K didn't realise what. I don't think she realised that that's what it was sort of unofficially called. But yeah, now she does. Beagle Bob, Jeff, Penetrol Flood will help the paint smooth itself out and reduce bubbles and orange peel. Good with oil-based paint. Well, it could, yeah, I mean, you'll need to reduce it probably to spray it. So it sounds like that might be the thing. Bill HX7M. Hello, Kiwi. Love the Sunbeam project. Have you seen the 68 Charger that sold at auction this week for 170K? No, I have not. That's not staggeringly high for a Charger. I mean, I had a hand in, I helped that RTM Studios, that muscle car TV. They built a 60, I think it was 69 Charger with a Hellcat engine, and that sold for 200, and that was 2-3 years ago now. So yeah, 170 is, I mean, it's up there, but it's not setting a record for a Charger, but it's high. Barracuda, I was never enthused about BMWs. Then I discovered that they had plastic water pump and thermostat housings, and I became permanently unenthusiastic. Yeah, the BMWs do like their plastics. They do. I'll give you that. They do. I don't know what the life cycle's like for those plastic parts. I mean, a lot of cars have plastic intake manifolds now. Okay, they're not doing the same job that a water pump and thermostat housing does. They don't quite have the same heat cycling. Yeah, I really know very little about a BMW, so I don't know whether that's, an issue when they hit 10 years old, 15 years old, or quite when that becomes an issue, or 5 years old for that matter. But yeah, plastics are seeing more and more of it. Barracuda, I wouldn't mind rocking a 2002 or maybe a mid-80s 3 Series, but anything newer, no thanks. I love the first M3. I think those are just a classic BMW. And if I could, I would probably have one of those, but they're serious money now. They're very much a collector item. I guess I have a fondness for them from the touring car days when they used to race them quite a lot in the Australian touring cars. And they were absolute giant killers. They would hang in with GTRs, 5-litre V8 Holdens. They'd be right there and often winning. The only track they really struggled at, the BMW, is with Bathurst, and that's because it's got such long straights and such steep hills. And the little 2.3 litre did not like going up the hill quite as much as the 5-litre V8. So, no prizes for figuring that one out. That's the old no substitute for cubic inches. But yeah, the big V8 Commodore did grunt up the mountain quicker than the Beamer, and there was nothing the Beamer could do about it. They did try gearing it down, lower diff ratios, to try and get it up the hill, but then they ran out of top speed on the back straight. So they were kind of between a rock and a hard place. They just that was a track that just didn't suit them. But all the other tracks, particularly street courses, street circuits, they would actually embarrass the GDRs and the Nissan GDRs and the Holdens. They were so agile and nimble. They were very rapid little cars. So yeah, if I was going to have a BMW, it would be one of them. Now, Jeff Hutchins, Beagle Bob, you're talking about flooding the surface to be painted. No, he's talking about, I'm sure he's going to respond, but using it and mixing it in with the paint as a reducer to help it flow out. So Jim K, 7882. Good evening, Mr. Kiwi. Good evening, Mr. Jim. Good to have you here, man. Chris Freemuser, isn't the product called Penetrol and it's made by a company called Flood? Okay, no clue. Someone's busy texting me. Who's texting? Wrong. There you go. Don't know who that is, but it's not for me. Now, Jeff Hutchins, BMWs after mid-2000s too complicated. Yeah, a lot of cars after the 2000s are too complicated, mate. It's not. Yeah, BMW certainly can't take the honours for being the most simple. But I tell you what, a lot of cars in the 2000s getting a bit complicated. Mind you should see the Audi. Oh my God, that blue thing. That's that's wild. But it goes. I don't imagine a car like that is going to get to 200,000 miles. I really don't. But as far as it does go, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun ride. Now, Grover built Rust-Oleum paint has really improved over the years. I get amazing quality repainting the pieces on my restoration projects. And there you go. So yeah, why not paint a vehicle with it? Jeff Hutchins, Barry Cooter, you wouldn't like anything now. Everything is plastic under the hood. Yeah, BMW certainly haven't cornered the market on that by a long shot. Not by a long shot. I mean, that old Explorer, 98 Explorer that we pulled the motor out, me and Steve pulled the motor out of, the heater tap was all plastic, and that we didn't have to undo that. I just kind of grabbed it to start undoing the hose clamp on it, and it just fell apart. So yeah, plastic is good, but it definitely has a lifespan. Jeff Hutchins, Prepsol was what I was thinking of. Yeah, that's what you clean it down with first to make sure you got no wax or oil residue or anything like that on. But don't use that as a reducer, no. What's on it to be? Kiwi, do you know the makeup of POR 15? A dry it dries, flows out very nice, but doesn't like UV light and peels if surface isn't prepped well. Yes, it doesn't have any UV light protection because it's not a top coat. It's not meant to be. The focus is on locking in the corrosion, and then you have to give it a surface, a top coat to protect it from the UV because it will, it doesn't like it, as you say. Peels if the surface isn't prepped well. Well, to be fair, most paint peels if the surface isn't prepped well. So yeah, that's not unique to POR 15. I tell you what though, I had an experience with POR 15. We had actually it was a Corvette, like that C3, and we had to pull the windscreen out because around the windshield opening, I think it was a Corvette. It was metal around the windshield where the windshield bonded in. It was metal and it had some surface rust on it. So we POR 15'd it, let it dry, urethaned it into the car, just the normal. I didn't top coat it, and just urethaned it into the car. And anyway, it came back about 6 months later, and because they'd put a big stone chip in it. So it needed a new windshield, and then so I had the windshield guy come over and take the windshield out, and the urethane had barely stuck to the POR 15. Like I think we left it too long, and it got too hard and too kind of shiny, and the urethane, which sticks to anything else, did not stick to POR 15. So yeah, we ended up sanding it, just lightly sanding it, giving it a mechanical key by sanding it just with a like 120 grip, and took all the gloss off it, glued it back in, and worked a charm. But yeah, I was really shocked that urethane, which I say sticks, is an exceptionally good glue. That windshield urethane did not stick to POR 15. Barracuda, I knew a man who had 90s BMW. He cooked his engine because of one of those plastic cooling system parts cracking. Yeah. Look, I don't doubt that for a minute, Barracuda. I think one of the things that we have to adjust, well, we don't have to, if we want those cars, we have to adjust to a bit more preventative maintenance. If you're going to keep I think 10 years, for some reason, someone told me that once the Beamers hit about 10 to 15 years old, it's time to start thinking about replacing those plastic components as preventative maintenance. And that is because, it breaks, you overheat and lose your engine, which gets very expensive, especially on a BMW. If you're gonna have one, I'm not suggesting you should, Barracuda, but like if a guy wants a Beamer and he wants an older one, then I think you have to be prepared to go through and replace those plastic cooling system parts, the heater valve, the thermostat housing, the water pump, whatever it is, and just do it before it fails. There's, the brakes, you're supposed to replace the pads before you run out of pad. So it's not unlike that. We're kind of used to a cast iron water pump that lasts, essentially forever if you keep putting, re-kitting it, putting new bearings in it or whatever. You don't have to worry about them cracking due to old age typically. But yeah, that's not what a BMW is, and yeah, if you buy a 20-year-old Beamer with high miles, you're buying some issues. That's just and I guess not everybody knows that, but if you do know a little bit about them, you should know that you're buying some problems and some maintenance, and yeah. Jeff Hutchins, good info, Kiwi. I tend to pile on the paint even though I know it's wrong. Yeah, mate, you're one of the many. I do the same thing. I tend to not be patient enough. I want to get the next coat on, and walk away, have a cup of coffee, do something. Like leaving it a little bit longer is not going to cause you problems. Leaving it a little not quite enough is going to cause you problems. So yeah, like when you think I can probably put another coat on now, then go and have a coffee or go and do something, go and watch a short video on YouTube or something, but just when you think it's ready, give it another 10, just because you can. It doesn't, not going to cost you anything to give it another 10 minutes, but if you do it too soon, yeah, you'll spend the rest of the weekend cursing. So Beagle Bob, is the Sunbeam getting a brown or black diamond stitch vinyl seats? The Sunbeam is going to get like an off-white or bone or champagne coloured interior to go with the dark green, and probably black carpets. As far as the stitching pattern, I'm not sure about that, but no, it won't be brown or black. No, it's going to be that off-white colour. So it should really stand out. It should really make a statement, I think. So they go well together. That really dark green and that off-white colour actually is pretty sharp. Obviously, not everyone's going to like it. That's okay. You just like I say, you can't please all the people all the time. But Mrs. Kiwi has got some very definite ideas about what she wants, and for the most part, I don't disagree with them. For the most part, yeah, I think it'll look good. That dark green with not white seats but off-white seats. It should be good. Paul Funk, I don't think any part of the cooling system should be made from plastic. It's production cost, Paul. That's the thing. That's the bottom line. They are constantly thinking about how they can make the car lighter and cheaper. Some of that's the EPAs of the world, pushing manufacturers to get more miles to the gallon and smaller carbon footprint, and getting fined for that gas guzzler taxes and stuff like that. They're all trying to get away from that. They're getting pushed by the government to go down a road that they might not. And then, of course, we all want more for our money. We all want, the latest and greatest with all the bells and whistles for what we used to pay for the basic stuff. Like that's just a human nature thing. We want more for less, and something has to give. So, and the manufacturers, if these cars go for 10 years and do 100,000 miles, they've done their job. That's all they're building these cars to do. We choose to keep them going longer because of the cost. I get that. But yeah, it's just saying, like, I do agree. I don't disagree with you. That I really don't. I don't think any part of cooling system, like the heat cycling, just plays havoc with the plastic. But we unfortunately don't get to spec out. There's certain things we get to spec on our new cars when we buy them. That's not one of them. We can choose a color, we can choose the sound system, we can choose various things, but not whether the cooling system's plastic or not. You're right, but honestly, when the EPA's, when they're looking for every pound or kilogram that they can save, that's a good way to save some weight. Barracuda, I think GMH Holden used a plastic intake manifold. Actually, I saw a little short the other day, and some guy was showing off his printed intake manifold, V8 intake manifold. They printed the damn thing. Looked just like an aluminum intake, but it was white and it was plastic. So, but I mean that's obviously there was not going to be an exhaust crossover. I don't think that would have worked well. But yeah, will it work? I guess time will tell. I mean, if you're saying GMH did it, then this guy wasn't the first, was he? Well, I've been rambling. I'm getting too far behind here. Good Lord, way behind. Here we go. One of the 6-litre Ford's many issues is all of its plastic under the hood, which makes sense as it's a European design. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, LS motors have plastic intakes even before that. Yeah. Buick base 3.8 V6, but it gave problems, so they went back to aluminum. Yeah. Chris Freemasser, plastic intakes don't worry me much. It's the plastic oil and trans pans some manufacturers use that seem dangerous. Yeah, well, all the Coyotes come with plastic oil pans. And it's like, yeah. I mean, if you hit something with a plastic oil pan, it's going to break, but then so will an aluminum one. So, Jeff Hutchins or plastic A-arms. No, I'd have to draw the line at that. Yeah, I don't think they make a good enough plastic to make A-arms out of. Oh, jeez. Barry Cooder, Kiwi, have you given any thoughts to oil filter magnets for picking up metallic particles? That's the magnets that you put on the outside of filters, right? Yeah, to me, I mean, the filter element should be catching those metal particles. I certainly get, magnetic drain plugs and stuff like that to pick up a few little bits of metal before it gets to the pump. But once it hits the filter, like the filter should be catching any metal that's in there. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm probably on the fence about that with oil filter magnets. I mean, I guess it's not going to hurt. It's not going to make any of the matters worse, is it? So, yeah, but yeah, can't hurt. Jim K, Mr. Kiwi, have you had any parts 3D printed yet? I'm looking to get some custom rear tail lights printed. If anyone has a good source. No, I haven't. I'm probably going to be getting some stuff printed for the Large Marge for the Plymouth because there's some plastic pieces on her from 1959 that you can't buy anymore. Like a couple of little bits of plastic trim in the dash that I'm probably going to get printed if I can. But I haven't gone down that road of figuring out who to do it yet. So I'm afraid I'm no help to you whatsoever. Now, Jeff, my 98 328i regular old four-door sedan with regular tyres could double posted corner speed. You could take a 25 mile an hour corner at 50, 35 at 70. It was everything it could do, but definitely 2 times speed. Yeah, well, that's one Beamer's handle, man. BMW's handle. They are one of the better, not the best. There's always something that's better, some obscure, almost a race car thing. But for production sedans and two-doors that aren't supercars and Lamborghinis and stuff, they handle superbly. That's a BMW trademark. They're very neutral, well balanced, good handling cars. Oh, here we go. Mexican spec chimed in. What tail lights do you want to get printed? You got a good 3D printer, Mexican spec? Driveway of misfits. I'd be worried about 3D printed tail lights not refracting light correctly. Yeah, that did cross through my mind. It's like, yeah, how? I I mean, they can do some very clever stuff with 3D printing, but like a tail light lens does need to refract a lot of light, as you say, in a if it looked milky or I'd want to see a 3D printed tail light before I kind of signed up to have some made. As long as they look like a conventionally molded one, then fine. That'd be It does. It conjures up in my imagination, very milky, potentially milky, not clear enough tail light lenses, but there's a good chance they've got that figured out. Tavo, daughter's Kia blew out a plastic thermostat housing at 6 years old. Yeah, well, that's not good. That's not good. Did it hurt it? Did it like overheat, or did the computer shut it down? Driveway of misfits. I had a daily drive with a plastic thermostat housing that I replaced at 12 years old. It was a seal, not the housing that failed. There you go. 12 years old. I mean, today's cars, like a lot of us are driving 60-year-old cars, right? Or our hobby car, weekend cars, 60 odd years old. Today's cars are not being built to last that long. They're not. They've figured out that they don't need to make them quite like they used to in the good old days, and they can make them cheaper. And I mean, as a business, which these car manufacturers are businesses, they're not there for our entertainment. They're there to make a buck, and that's capitalism, that's business, that's all around the world. So they're there to make a buck. So making a product that's going to last 60 or 80 years, that's not necessarily the best business idea. Great for us oldies that like those old cars, but as a business model, potentially not the best in this day and age. Our washing machine cracked out a couple of months back, and it was 5 years old. And the guy at Best Buy says, that's about, yes, you can get it fixed. It was a Samsung. Yes, you can get it fixed. It's probably going to be quite expensive to fix. And really, you're at 5 years is kind of the window for a washing machine these days. And then, I've got, Mrs. K's parents are saying, we've got a washing machine that's, they're 80 years old, but, they're like, we've got a washing machine that's 35 years old and it's still going strong. It's like, yeah, but Samsung have sold, 15 times as many washing machines because they clap out after 5 years. So figure that one out. Who's made more money? Chris Freeman, did that one already? Mexican spec. I have a local guy that will rebuild an old water pump with all new parts for less than $50 US parts and labor. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that with a plastic one. No, you can't. Those guys that can do that are getting very thin on the ground. And there's probably more of them in Mexico than there are in the US, because I can buy water pumps for $25. So that guy's like, I know he's not, but he's kind of expensive compared to what you can buy new ones for. Okay, they're Chinese, and I don't know how long they'll last, but you say to someone who's got a bad water pump, you want to pay 50 or you want to pay 25? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, I want to pay 25. Yeah. But, that $50 rebuild will probably last another 30 years. But if you're not keeping the car for another 30 years, you kind of end up buying that water pump for someone else. It all depends how you look at it, how long you keep in the car, and paying that guy. I'm assuming you say a local guy, so I'm assuming he's in Mexico. Giving him that old water pump to rebuild is keeping money in Mexico. It's not going out over the border to China. It's keeping the economy working, and there is an argument for that as well, which is equally as valid. We're such a throwaway society now, and it's not. I don't know that it's the right direction in the long run. Orlando Pockets, welcome along, man. I'm doing well. Any better, I'd be dangerous. So yeah. What about you? Hopefully you're doing well too, man. Mexican spec, driver with misfits, you don't live in an extremely hot area. No, that's true, he doesn't. But okay. I hear what you're saying, Mexican spec, but does the ambient temperature affect it that much? Or is it the heat in the engine? They're all going to run around that 180, 190 degrees, whether you're, because of a thermostat, whether you're in New York or Tijuana, So, that's what Chris has come back and said. You beat me to it. All engine compartments are hot. This is it, yeah. But yeah, maybe that cold when it's sitting for a couple of days or whatever is, takes less of a toll on it maybe than sitting in constant 100-degree heat. Minimum, just ambient. Yeah. Okay. You guys are all saying what I'm saying. So, yeah. Yes, but add in 120 degrees Fahrenheit constant heat too. That's got to add up eventually. Charles Dalton, good hanging with you all. Have to call it a night. See you next week if YouTube lets us in. Indeed. Well, thanks for dropping in, man. Chris Freeman, so I would think that extreme temperature fluctuations here would do a number on plastic components as well. Yeah. It's hard to say. I don't know. That has to have an effect. Absolutely. Barracuda, why not just make them out of aluminum? Using plastic suggests penny pinching to me, and not something you'd expect on the ultimate driving machine. Yeah. I agree, Barracuda. It's a little disappointing to see, and I think that's what you're meaning. High-end vehicle, you'd think would be a little more high-end, but plastic it's just one of life's new realities. You're going to see more and more of it in the automotive sector, and to say they. Manufacturer's perspective, they hit 10 years, they did good. And beyond that, I mean, it's getting harder and harder to get parts for cars that are over 10 years old. And over 20, forget about it. Right? Those guys with, like late 90s, very early 2000s vehicles are in trouble to get parts. Some parts, not all parts, but some parts. They're becoming hard to get. People to work on them is getting very hard to find. The repair shops that do more modern cars want more modern cars at the door that haven't got cracked plastics on them, that haven't got corroded bolts that won't come undone and stuff like that. They want it's easy working on cars that are under 100,000 miles. Typically, the jobs aren't that big. They kind of get them in, get them out quick, and it's pretty straightforward stuff. Things come apart, go back together well, and start fighting with a 25-year-old car and the fun and games that come with that perfect car that we like to think of our old cars as being so good. They can be a bear to work on. Not because they're awkward, but just because the old stuff's rusted rusted together, frozen. Bolts have been undone potentially several times before, and heads of bolts can be rounded off. Manifold bolts break when you're taking them out, stuff like that. So yeah, that 25-year-old mark for cars is before they got too complicated, but not many people want to work on them. Like, I don't want to work on them. They're just a bit. They're not what I like to work on. I like the older stuff, the truly older stuff. Yeah, and they're electronic enough for me to not have the equipment to diagnose them properly. And I don't, not that I, am not able to buy that diagnostic stuff. I just choose not to buy that diagnostic stuff. I don't want to, and I got enough to do. I don't need to, so I'm not gonna. But yes, the aluminum. I mean, the aluminum corrodes too. Don't forget that, Barracuda. The aluminum corrodes, and if you don't, if you don't maintain it, if you don't change your coolant and make sure that the cast iron components are at war with the aluminum and stuff like that, they corrode away. Aluminum's not the the holy grail of mediums to make stuff with. Mexican speak. Yes, the heat cycles. Plastic can't stand up like metal. Not typically. I think they're getting more, much cleverer than they used to be, the plastics, but they have a life cycle. They have a finite lifespan. Mexican spec parts like that are planned to kill cars prematurely. Yeah, I don't know whether they're planned. I mean, the cynical side of me says yes, it is planned, but I think it's a side effect that the manufacturers aren't invested in changing. Shall we say? It might be putting a political kind of spin on it, but yeah, I think the manufacturers are well aware that some of the cars get killed off prematurely by some of their choices, and they're like, oh well, so be it. But I think those choices to make some of that stuff like that is about cost on that particular unit and weight savings and stuff like that. Barracuda, plastic is cheap and lighter, so it improves fuel efficiency at the expense of longevity. Yeah, and some of that is driven by the consumer. Some of it's driven by, and we all want to get more miles to the gallon. We all want to do that. It's also driven by the government, who's trying to clean up the atmosphere. Hence electric cars, but let's not go there. Mexican spec Barracuda, they are made from plastic, so the car fails prematurely, so you have to buy a new one sooner. Yeah. Yep, there's some truth to that, man. Mexican spec, adios all. Well, hey, thank you for coming in, Mexican spec. It's been awesome having you here, as always. So thank you, sir, for your input. All right. Now, here we go. Hang on. Nope, vole flies in here. I shot down the page here and I just saw vole flies in here. Hang on. Wow, I'm a long way behind. Jeez. There we go. Chris Freeman's awake. Second, there's a Dean Stevenson. Did Interpol finally catch up with him? Mexican Spec. Mrs. Spec says she's feeling a little better today. Well, that's good. That's good. That's awesome. Beagle Bob, this is reminding me that I need to swap the plastic timing chain tensioners on my Mercury to the cast iron ones that I have before it fails on me. There you go. Tavo, another way to save weight would be to leave out 25 modules and 40 kilometers of wiring. Yeah, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, isn't there, Tavo? So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of modules in cars today, isn't there? Chris Freemasher, enough is enough with these new cars. Large margins for everyone. Speaking of large marge, I got a photo from my engine builder today with, he's been working on the cylinder heads. Now, again, it's two big old cracks right across between the two Laval seats, which is a little unfortunate. One's good, one's not. So I do have a spare set of heads, so we're going to run those up to the engine rebuilder and see if one of those will get the job done. But it's probably a better option than trying to repair that cylinder head. That's a pretty decent sized crack. So the block was good, no cracks. 30 thou cleaned it up for a rebore. So, we're not gone too thin in the walls. One bad head. Yeah, could be worse. Paul Funk, I guess the way I look at having plastic engine parts on a BMW is like spending Aspen, Colorado hotel price to spend the night in a Hotel 6. Yep. No, this is true. Kerosene and cucumbers. Hey, welcome along, man. Good to have you here. Paul Funk, Aspen, Colorado is the most overrated town in Colorado. Haven't been there since 85. Aspen. I don't think I've been there at all, so you're doing better than me. Mike the Slacker, I made it. Hi, Kiwi. Welcome along, man. Good to have you here. Jeff Hutchins, if you don't like BMW bang for the buck, don't go Italian cars or any other German cars for that matter. Hey, I drive an Audi. So, yep, that's the old Ford Chevrolet argument, but just in German, isn't it? So, Beagle Bob, I think all the 3.6 Pentastars have plastic oil coolers or oil filter mounts that are a guaranteed leak. Yeah. Most of the manufacturers are using lots of plastic. Volfly beats YouTube with a club until the chat room door opens. You've been having trouble getting in, mate. I wonder if my YouTube's working yet. I don't know. Come on, wake up. Nope, yeah, my YouTube's working again. There you go. So yeah, there was something wrong with it. Joseph Zott. New cars garbage. Yeah. Here's a question, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm just posing the question. But when there were brand new cars in 1965, did the guys who had cars from 1940 say the same thing? Like I was 4 years old, so I don't know. But, did the guys that had 25 or 30-year-old cars then in 1965 think that the newest stuff was garbage? I don't know. Volfly, savage servers are at it again. Chris Freemasser, our washer dryers are 30 years old. You want quality, but a Speed Queen. Yep, there you go. Buy a Speed Queen. Volfly, Isis, 30-year-old Maytag and shrugs. There you go. Maytag's got a pretty good name. I haven't heard of the Speed Queen, but then I wasn't around in the States 30 years ago, so . Tavo, when the Kia blew the plastic, she knew the smell, saw the steam, and shut it down. Being brought up around cars helps sometimes. Absolutely, yeah. Yep. Snow Crusher, hey. The Canadians are in the house. Welcome along, man. Volfly, another day, another Ford V10 dead at work. Yeah, there wasn't their the V10 wasn't their proudest moment, really, was it? Chris Freemesser, and that surprises you somehow. Volfly, cross contamination from the oil cooler. Okay, so got water into the oil. Is that what you mean? Barracuda, from what I've recently been seeing, oil filters aren't generally as efficient as you'd expect them to be. And if the magnets keep the metallic debris off the element, it'll keep flowing better. Yep. No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. A fair point, my friend. Yeah, like I said, it can't hurt. What possibly harm could come from it? So, Volfly, no surprise, V10s were a bad idea, Chrysler. Yeah, that wasn't their best work either. Joseph Zott, still got the single overhead cam 429? Question mark. Who's still got the single overhead cam 429? Volfly, Chrysler V10s died left and right too, yeah. Beagle Bob, a warmer climate like that is better. No heat cycle if the car never cools off. Yeah, could be. I mean, you might have something there, mate. Jeff Hutchins, I have a few first-gen Dodge Cummins, all around 200,000 miles. A 98 24-valve Cummins with 440, 2000 Suburban half-ton, 5.3, 330 miles, 2000 7.3 power stroke with 330k. Wow, you do some miles, brother. Now, where's Jeff's continuation? 2000 power stroke, takes some dollars and work to keep going. The early 90s Dodgers hardly ever break, and the 2000 Suburban won't die. There you go. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, what was the Suburban? 5.3 litre, so LS. Yeah, LS is a great engine. It's relatively simple. And 2000, it hasn't got all that MDS bullshit on it. So that's part of the reason it's done that kind of mileage. Yeah, keep it. The old KISS theory is hard to beat. You know, Ford's been fighting cam chains ever since they went to overhead cams, isn't it? You know, the modular engine, the Coda engine, the twin overhead cam V6 engines that they had. You know, they're all, overhead cams and 4 valve per cylinder is all good and well, but be prepared for some maintenance. Volfly. Oh, I got the FLIR system installed on the wife's fan. The display is still looking to be secured where she wants it. Kind of handy device. Lets you answer the question. The fuck did I just see? Fish Geraldine. Hey, good to have you here, man. Just thought I'd pop in and say hi, everyone. I'm dealing with some health BS and going to bed in a few. Mate, yeah, I feel for you, brother. Yeah, we're all. I know I'm sending good thoughts your way, man, and yeah, Fitzgeralding is he's doing it a little tough at the moment. So yeah, I bet you are tired, man. But so yeah, get well soon, man. Get well soon. Barracuda, I've just one word for you, plastics. So I think we can firmly put Barracuda in the I Hate Plastics club. And I am there with you. But, yeah, it's yeah, I guess I'm a little bit more fatalistic. Like it's just how manufacturers make them these days, and there's a number of reasons, and it just is what it is. Do I like it? No. Do I accept it? Kind of have to, really, don't you? And that's also why I have more than a handful of old cars as well. Firefly, the great part of the FLIR system is that it does not get blinded by the annoying non-dirty truck with LED headlights. That's true. What's on there to be? The standard for fit and finish and the very nice interiors of modern cars and their high costs just seem to contradict that they are only meant for, say, 10 years or so. Yeah. Yep. Look how long your TVs last now, though, and your computers. I mean, I'm sitting in front of a laptop talking with you guys. That's 3 years old. That's considered a dinosaur. And, they're not cheap for a good one. They're not cheap. But, whether you buy an expensive or a cheap computer, 5 years, that's it, man. If it doesn't die, then you need the newer version anyway to be able to keep up. So, planned obsolescence is a thing, without a doubt. Snow Crusher, new F-150 taillight, $1,900 Canadian. Can't just, wow. You can't just replace the bulb, really. $1,900 Canadian. Wow. Well, that truck could end up in the dismantling yard, sometime, quite a few years into the future. But at some point, someone's going to say, "Oh, I need 2 new taillights, $4,000. It's not worth it. Send it to the scrapper." That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Jeff Hutchins, we call the 2000 Suburban the Battleberg. It got rear-ended by a newer GMC truck. Couldn't really tell, rear-ended by a Freightliner, but you can tell. But we're still driving it. The semi got towed away. Good Lord, really? Wow. Battleberg. That's a good name for it. Michael Pagliarini, I think. I'm hanging quarter panels on a 65 coupe. Let's say they don't fit very well. Any suggestions? Oh, man. Yeah. Are you doing full quarters or quarter skins? That's the first question. Volfly, yep. The CAN bus strikes again. Snow Crusher. Yep, there you go. Chris Geraldine, I guess I've been lucky with my newer, for me, car, 2011 Lexus. I've had for 7 years. I put 90,000 miles on it, just at 185. Wow. Replaced the front struts, front brakes, and a map sensor. That's pretty good going, isn't it? That's yeah. And tell me, how many sets of plugs did you put in at that time, and how many sets of points and condenser did you put in that time? None, right? So there's an element of, I think there's an element of swings and roundabouts, and that the older stuff did take more maintenance. Our maintenance has gone down a lot on the newer cars. And then when we finally do get to do maintenance, it's big, admittedly. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Beagle Bob, save 50.5, half a dollar, 50 cents a unit, and sell 2 million units. That's $1 million. Exactly. That's why they do it. It doesn't, that's why they do it. I mean, you hit the nail exactly on the head, Beagle Bob. I was told a story about back in the 80s, I think at some time, Buick decided to stop painting their engines. They said, no, we're not going to paint them anymore. They'd worked out, and this is allegedly a true story. I mean, I wasn't there, so, but it was apparently costing them 87 cents to paint the engine. So they said, yep, we're not going to do it anymore. As you say, times 1 million units, that's quite a lot of money. And so it's not just and that cost of painting the engine, I believe, is not just the material. It was the time involved too, the time factor. Chris Freeman said panel gaps and interior features are what sells cars, not the engineering under the hood that buyers can't see. Exactly. I mean, look at you can't see the engines anymore. They cover them all up. No, it's all about the features, the bells and whistles, the backup camera, the ABS, and parking assist, and the cars that brake for you, and that's what people want. It's not what everybody wants, because there's us, this group, and all the rest of the people like us that want the engineering, but the manufacturers of automobiles cater to the biggest market. They cater to what the majority of the market wants, and that's bling, bells and whistles. Josh Homan, I'm not sure that people want to get more miles per gallon when they keep buying big trucks. I disagree, Josh. I think it is they want their big truck to get more miles to the gallon. Whatever car they're driving, they want it to get more miles to the gallon. They want it to be cheaper to run. The trucks would like to be getting 25, 28 miles to the gallon. The little four bangers want to be getting 40 or 50 to the gallon. Volfly, want to hack into a hybrid car and tap into the 220 volt section of the battery and power the house up. Well, it's not out of the question. I wouldn't think. Andy Nickel, a little late but high. Well, that's all right, man. We got 20 minutes. Now, what have we got? Jeff Hutchins, why don't we just make everything out of that shit Wolverine is made out of? Mate, that's the best idea that anyone's come up with on this whole live stream. I got to say, that is the best idea. Andy Nickel, what's going on? Wait, we're talking, we haven't really wandered off the topic of cars tonight, which is really quite shocking. So lots of talk about reliability of cars, plastics in cars, how they're making, they're cheaping out on the way they make cars a little bit these days. And we're kind of discussing that, the whys, our theories as to why they do that. It's been an interesting evening, actually. What's on it to be? Yes, agree, especially when I see dual exhaust on everything. Money that could be spent on other more important things. Yeah. Volfly, damn, not a friendly crack in that head. No. I don't know. I'm not an engine buyer. I don't think that's. I think if you had to, you could repair it. But I've got two other heads. I've got a whole other spare motor out of a 58, which is, I believe, the same head. But I guess we're now going to find out for sure. See if it has the same size valves and all that sort of stuff. It's still on a long block, so I haven't. They look the same from the top, with the exception of it has the 58 has 3 bolts in the valve cover, and the 59 has 2 bolts in the valve cover. So that's a bit of information that you always wanted to have, isn't it? So actually, that's an example. Why did they go from 3 bolts to 2 bolts? They didn't go up in bolts, they went less. Ask yourself why they did that. They just used the 2 outer ones and left the middle one out. They figured out that the valve cover would seal just as well with 2 bolts, one at each end, because it goes in through the top, and it saved them machining and tapping the 3rd hole in the head for the bolts, the cost of the bolt, the cost of installing the bolt. The only reason they could have done that would have done that is for cost, and time saving, which is money, which is time is absolutely money on an assembly line. So they did that to save. I have no idea how much. But 1 bolt, a little bit of machining. So it was going on back in the 50s. Don't think it wasn't. One thing about the old classic American cars, they ignored having a fresh air intake and just sucked on hot air. That's right, they did. You're absolutely right there. Andy Nichols, stuck in a blizzard here in Alberta. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, well, you just have to sit back and hopefully you're nice and warm inside your home. But you just have a relaxing, however long it takes. Barracuda, 54-ish to 74-ish, there was little to complain about with American cars. Interesting. Yeah, no, that's probably fair. That was probably the peak of American auto manufacturing in that exact window. So yeah, you're probably right on the money there, mate. They didn't have great brakes, even in 74. Yeah, they got into the 70s, they started to think about brakes a bit more. But yeah, some of that mid-60s and early 60s stuff did not have great brakes. But they did stop, though, to be fair. They did stop. Snow crusher. New cars were always seen as better till the late 70s, and then just garbage in the 80s. Yeah, the 80s wasn't a good decade for cars. Jeff Hutchins, I haven't seen any evidence that V10s die any faster than V8s. I can honestly say I have never worked on a V10, so really not in a position to comment, but the feedback that seems to come is that V10s don't seem to have a great reputation. But reputations aren't always fair either, so I don't know. Jeff Hutchins, I put big rare earth magnets on my oil pans, oil filters, and diff covers. Not only for the little pieces, stopping the big chunks is good too. Well, you can't argue with that. Locked up rear ends are almost always caused by a chunk, making bigger chunks. Yes, keeping that first chunk out of the system and about anything mechanical lessens the catastrophe, maybe even reduce a wreck to a bad noise to investigate. Hard to argue with that, Jeff. Yeah. Kind of, well, like I said before, there can't be any harm come from doing it, I don't believe. Put a big magnet on the side of your ECU, that might be different. That might upset it. But yeah, on your, as you say, oil pans, oil filters, diff covers, why not? Chris Freemesser, the planned obsolescence of computers is totally artificially created by Microsoft, Apple. Hardware is good enough to last decades. Well, there you go. Interesting. Yeah, I take your word for that, Chris. You know your computers. Hardware is good enough to last decades. So is it is the hardware that's in a 10-year-old laptop, is it, how do I word this? Is it capable of coping with the more modern systems? So there's a reliability factor. Is it good enough to last decades? But is it capable of keeping up with the latest things, whatever, the latest systems and the speed of the latest systems? Or is it simply just tough enough to last? I don't know. Interested. Yeah, if you can be interested to hear your response on that. Yeah, oh man, I lost my place badly here. There we go. Barracuda, I know a man here in New Zealand, multi-millionaire, who wanted a 90s Lexus S400 V8 coupe, but thought 180,000 was unreasonable, so he waited 3 years to get an immaculate one for 35,000. Wow, that's some depreciation, isn't it? In 3 years, wow, that's huge. Michael Paglia, that last bit trips me up, though. I'm going to call you Michael Pag, okay? Michael Pag, full quarters. Okay, full quarters depends a little bit on the brand of them. But no, you are going to battle the fit. It's not a straightforward operation. And it's going to take you a minimum of 2 days. Like 16 hours is not a bad number to make a Mustang quarter fit nice. I mean, yeah, you just have to keep chasing it, and you'll put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off, trim a little here, nick a little here, work with it. I don't have like a 3 sentences that are going to make it easy. Like there's not really an easy way. You've just kind of got to keep at it. And then if you're adding in wheelhouses, that because the wheelhouses, they're very inaccurate, has been my finding. They don't match the old ones very well at all. They don't tend to match the new quarters, so that can be a battle. But yeah, just patience, my friend, is really about it. And just when you hold it up there and it fits horribly, it's easy to go, oh my God, how am I ever going to make this fit? Just pick a spot that's not fitting well and have a quick, just try and look at it in snapshot sizes and just keep working your way around, and slowly you'll get there. But there's not like you're going to be able to hit it in one spot or cut something in one spot and suddenly it goes on. It's wrong a little, or a reasonable amount in a lot of places, and you've just got to keep chasing it, and eventually you'll get it. But yeah, it's not like doing a quarter on a 2010 something. It's not the same. It's just not. It's reproduction, so that's an issue. And no two Mustangs are built the same. That's a big piece of the problem. No two of them are the same. They're all a little different because the manufacturing tolerances were just woeful by today's standards. Like making the quarter match the door is a challenge. Making it match the wheelhouse is a challenge. Getting it to match the trunk lid and the quarter extension is a challenge. You're just going to have to address them all one at a time, man. Jeff Hutchins, too bad that new F-150 is aluminum. If it was steel, they could just plug in some magnetic Harbor Freight $19 tail lights and slap them on top of the bed. Oh, David Tyree, this group. You mean the dinosaurs? Well, I wouldn't have phrased it quite that way, but I see the direction you're heading with that, mate. I do. Um, Volfly. Well, Jeff Hutchins, I was never truly there when the V10s failed. I just got sent the dead vehicle. The customers were not very helpful when describing the situation. There you go. Fish Geraldine, one set of Iridium 100,000 mile plugs about 8,000 miles ago. Fading fast, LOL. Good evening, all. Good evening, mate. Have a good one and get well soon, bud. Jeff Hutchins, plastic, lighter, cheaper, fails out of warranty. What's not to love for the manufacturer? Very well put. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Very succinctly explained the situation. Yeah. Barracuda, Kiwi, in your experience, do any of the old American classic cars have hub-centric wheels, or are they mostly or all just lug-centric? The older American, lug-centric, absolutely no. I've not come across them that were hub-centric, no. No, not in my experience. There's usually quarter-inch difference between the hole in the, or more, or the hole in the wheel and the hub center. Some of them were reasonably snug, but yeah, they. I think some of the Mopars were a little snug, but yeah, it was a wheel nut or lug bolts. So yeah, lug centric, as you say. Now what do we got? I'm guessing there is something going on with their oil coolers or a resonance problem with the crankshafts. Okay. JD Smith, what's the deal with the quality of GM performance engines being so poor? First LSX 454 cent was cracked block right out of the crate. Wow. Second engine was missing rear plate seals too. Too expensive. Mate, I do not know. As you probably know, I don't deal with a lot of GM stuff. Certainly not new performance engines, really. An LSX 454 with a cracked block. Wow, that's not good. Don't know. But what does Volfly have to say? GM's quality has been going steadily downhill over the years. Yeah. Barracuda, I wish to discuss Brussels sprouts. Are they a good thing? They are a good thing, mate. When I was a kid, I hated Brussels sprouts, but now I like them. Why, Mrs. K's got a really good recipe for doing them. She does them with, she roasts them and with bacon and with balsamic vinegar. Like drizzles them with balsamic vinegar. Really good. Really good. Like, yeah, don't worry about the roast. Just give me the sprouts. Just pass the sprouts over here. I'm good. Joseph Zott had a 70 Challenger 426 TQ only PB. Okay, 70 Challenger 426. Well, very valuable car, awesome car. TQ only PB. Not sure what that means. TQ only PB. Not sure what you mean there, mate. That's excuse my ignorance. I'm not sure what you're saying or asking. Granddad's junk. Look at you. You do tend to be a little late getting there. Well, you were early the other week, but yeah. But hey, better late than never, man. Better late than never. It's good to have you here, Bill. Mrs. K's been busy figuring out how to bring that Remu back, and she doesn't want to get tripped up at customs and stuff like that. So we think we got a handle on it now. So, yeah. So that should be that Remu should be back in America in about 3 weeks' time. So yeah, it's all cool. So Driveway of Misfits. Mechanic I watch on YouTube has had all sorts of problems with GM replacement engines, getting old core sent to him instead of proper rebuilds. Good Lord, really? That's bizarre. How on earth would they do that? They actually send out an old core as a rebuilt engine. That's wild. That's really wild. Jeff Hutchins, Volfly. How many dead V8s in the same truck? I have just seen nothing saying V10s have any more failures than V8s. Ford is a 5.4 litre, Dodge V10 is a 360 Magnum, just 2 more cylinders. Right. Yeah, well, based on that, the V10 or the 360 is just a solid engine. 2 more cylinders you wouldn't think would cause that many problems, but the Ford, the 5.4 was never a good engine to start with. Was not a good engine to start with. So adding 2 cylinders and the extra load on all the cam train, valve train, probably didn't help the Fords, but I'm fishing there, honestly, because it's not my area of knowledge. Volfly, I think GM is hiring fewer people for quality control. Yeah, well, bean counters, man, they're going to be they're a huge problem. The accountants just want to improve the bottom line all the time. If they can get rid of a couple more people and it doesn't appear to have an impact, they're all about it. And then eventually it catches up. But the bean counters are a lot of who's driving, the cheaping out on parts, the plastics that we're all complaining about. And, it's like, we can save $5 on an engine, and they love it. They make a decision like that to say, make it out of plastic, and it saves X amount, and then they sell 1 million of them, and they've improved the bottom line dramatically, and they can then go and ask for a pay rise because of what a good job they've done. I mean, the warranty department's tearing their hair out, but that's not their problem, it seems. Barracuda, I love them. And David Tyrie's, yuck. Mate, David, I think Mrs. K would change your mind about Brussels sprouts. I really do. But fair enough, though. I heard an American, and I'm saying American, that sounds a bit negative, but it was a little video, and I can't remember how it came up, but he was talking about miniature lettuce. And I'm like, what on earth is miniature lettuce? And it was Brussels sprouts. He was calling it miniature lettuce, which is really not. But hey, I just thought that just kind of made me giggle a bit, like miniature lettuce. I've never heard a Brussels sprout called that before. Jeff Hutchins, if just adding 2 cylinders ruins an engine design, then the 4.3 GM should make the 350 suck, and the 3.9 Chrysler V6 would make the 318 suck. That's a good point, Jeff. That's a good point. Well, I mean, I think the moral of the story is that V8s rule. I think we can probably all agree on that, regardless of what corner of the octagon we're coming from. That V8s rule. And I have to just point out that even though I have a German-made car, it is a V8. So I'm sticking to my V8 rule. And prove me wrong. Well, we're running out of time, guys. Let's quickly try and skim through this. Volfly, yep, Jeff, I was around when they were popular and then suddenly disappeared. That is the evidence hole that you should be looking at. If it was so good, why did they stop? Fair comment. I mean, it's a good question. Bill Bob, doing good, granddad. I was going to say your medicine garden was upside down, but then I remembered you're on the underside of the world. That's right. Granddad's saying all cars at this rate will be plastic. It's getting so ridiculous. The drivers will be plastic. Well, they just won't be drivers. It's all going to be autonomous, isn't it? Yeah, wow, I'm a little bit behind. Yeah. Right. Driveway of misfits. I can take a 5-year-old Windows system that Microsoft considers obsolete, install Linux on it instead, and get another 5-10 years out of it, no problem. There you go. There you go. Yeah, well, I wouldn't. I mean, you might disappear on us, Chris, if you kind of make too much noise about that. You know, like those guys that invent the water-powered internal combustion engine, they disappear. So yeah, if you start embarrassing Windows and Microsoft and those guys of making their computers last another 5 or 10 years, you might disappear too, mate. So something to think about. Snow Crusher. Is there a relationship between the level of bourbon left in the glass and how often you lose your place in the chat? No, because I do it in the beginning of it as well. As I scroll down, I just click on the little down arrow, but you click on it like I think it's 4 times, like to just rapid fire it down. It then goes straight to the bottom, and I always forget. So I probably forget quicker after when I'm hitting the bottom of the glass. But what do you do? Fire me. That's what I do. Barry Cooter, when I think back to driving a mid-60s Valiant with drums all around in hilly Dunedin, I never felt that they weren't up to the job. They work good. Just make sure they work evenly. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You just didn't want to be going down the hills with a caravan on the back, did you, with drum brakes? Joseph Sott, last 273 Mopar you saw. Yeah, it's been a while, mate. It's been a while. Richard Stanbury, how bad is it to drive my 273 V8 unleaded gas without hardened valve seats? Well, what I've been led to believe is the Mopar heads are some of the harder heads around, and they actually they will survive. The valves don't recede into the head, even with unleaded gas. So I've been told. But I mean, the lead additives, I'm not convinced at how effective they are. I would drive it. If it becomes a problem, if your valves retreat too far into the head and you've got to take the heads off and do valve seats, you can get hardened valve seats put in them. It's not even that expensive, really. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Drive it till it becomes a problem. Lift the heads, get hardened seats in, and then it'll go forever probably. So is it bad? I mean, some cylinder heads they'll suffer pretty rapidly, but I believe the Mopars, everything I've been led to believe is that Mopars are one of the, pretty much the best one around for how tough the heads are. David Tyree, don't like olives either, mate. Yeah, you're missing out on so much. Says the guy doesn't like cheese, so we're all weird, aren't we, in our own ways? Very good. Oh, I love olives. Yeah, you and me both, man. David Torrey, more of a carnivore. Yep, it's me as well. Joseph Sott, love the 63 Chrysler 300. Well, what's not to love? They're gorgeous. I agree. Jeff Hutchins, holy crap, the Ford made the V10 for 22 years. I did not know that. Wow. I wouldn't have thought it was even half that. Wow. That's pretty wild. Time flies, doesn't it? For Hofflight, be right back. Wife made chili and I'm hungry, but apprehensive. I hope she doesn't read that. I'm sure you're only saying it because you're worried about how hot it's going to be, not whether it tastes good, right? You stick to that story, mate. Trust me. Well, it's time for me to go as well. Anyway, not that I've got chili to go and eat. I've already done dinner. So, but yeah, I'm kind of having to try and quickly scroll through some of these. Yeah, I'm Barracuda. I've been running my 245 Hemi 6 on unleaded since the early 90s without hardened seats. No problems. That's a pretty good run. Barracuda, Kiwi, you like Brussels sprouts and olives. We should hook up. Yeah, I mean, one of these days, right? One of these days. But hook up is possibly not. We should get together maybe, but not hook up. Like, that. Yeah. It's all good, man. Right. So, yeah, chili is burned slightly. Oh, well, don't share that with the whole crowd, man. Your poor wife's going to feel bad. But anyway, I'm sure it'll still be delicious. You tell her I'd eat it without complaining. You make sure you tell her that, mate. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, another great night. Okay. Joseph's got TQ Talk Elite Trans. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm with you now. Talk Elite Trans. TQ Talk Elite. I haven't even heard of one of those. Talk Elite Trans. Huh. Come back and tell me more about it next week, man. Explain that one to me. I'm not familiar with that term even. Was that a special trans that they ran behind the 426 or something? Anyway, Granddad's Junk, we're excited to see the Remu turn up. Yeah, it's going to be cool. Freemason, nothing wrong with charbroiled chili. Max level. Could the bourbon tumbler with a live chat scroll beyond the horizon? It could be. It could be. All right, guys. Well, thanks again. Yeah, a lot of fun as always. Enjoy all your guys' inputs, and thanks for being part of it. It's all a lot of fun. So, based on that, I will be back next week, same time, same channel, and see you then. In the meantime, get to work on your cars and have some fun. Take it easy, guys.